Whether you believe in them or not, the other day I was having a session and an angel showed up in it. I caught it on camera. It threw me way off guard. Take a look.
It's just going to be me. I want to let you know that. Oh, that was odd. I just had that's not a normal thing. Wow. That was so weird. I just had. Sorry, that's not normal. Ooh. I just had like a really bright light, like right here next to my door. I thought my husband had opened the door and it didn't. Oh, that's odd. It looks like whenever the door opens and the light's coming through. I have no idea why I'm having this reaction too. I have no idea what that was. Oh, that's weird. I think it's a female. Wow, what is that? That's very angelic. They're very loving, whatever this is, and they're coming to say hi to you.
Some people might call me crazy, and I don't even care no more, but I've never in my 32 years seen an angel, never seen a form of an angel, never seen anything like it. But this morning, I was woken up out of my sleep, and it was so crazy because you know how somebody might drop a pillow or something on you and you just feel it. Like I was woken up at 4 a.m. 4:44, and it was like something dropped on my face, and I woke up. I looked to the left of me, y'all, I promise. It was like a fixture, like an angel, but it hurried up and disappeared. Like this angel was waking me up.
So I'm surfing through TikTok at the wee hours of the night like most of us do. And I come across this video about what angels really look like according to the Bible. And immediately I started feeling chills all over my body because it brought back these very distinct memories that I had as a child. Now, if you read the Bible tells us that angels have a very strong appearance. They're not described like conventional ideologies like to depict that they are very soft looking, the wings are very childlike. So let me describe to you the first time I seen an angel. So my sister, my cousin, and myself were playing in the park. I was around the age of 10. My sister, I want to say 6, and my cousin, I want to say she was 8. We were very young, to say the least. So we're playing in the park, having fun, running up and down the yard, and we decided to sit on a bench, right? And so for some reason it was extremely cloudy that day, but it was also sunny as well, if that makes sense. So it was a lot of clouds in the sky, but it was also sunny, right? So we started saying things like, "Ooh, let's imagine that the clouds are a clown." And so the clouds would shift very softly. We'd say, "Let's imagine that the clouds are an elephant." And clouds just started shifting, very slowly. They were just shifting, just doing what clouds do, right? So after that, I believe we said a clown, or I can't remember. But the next thing that we said, the clouds started shifting abruptly. They were shifting, they were moving, and you started to see the blue of the sky, right? You started seeing a clear blue sky. They started shifting. But before we could see the entire sky, we saw these eyes, these huge human eyes. But behind these eyes, it looked like there were wings, and they were actually moving. At a high speed. Just moving and moving. And all I know is that me and my sister and my cousin, we looked at each other and we ran all the way home. We got dropped off to the park, so we wasn't even supposed to be running nowhere or walking anywhere. My grandma told us exactly what time that she was going to come up and get us, and I know that time hadn't allowed it. And we were running like Forrest Gump. And I tell you, it's something that I will never, ever forget, ever. I knew God had a...
Welcome to a journey beyond the veil, where faith meets the unexpected. Today, we're diving into TikToks that claim to capture glimpses of angels. Whether you're a believer, a skeptic, or just curious, these moments might just stir something in your soul. From divine encounters to heart-pounding signs from above, let's explore what happens when God's presence touches Earth. Hit that like button, say a little prayer, and let's react together.
I never really shared the story about how I met a real-life angel. At the time, I was walking my dog at the same place at the same time every day for 5 or 6 years, and I would always see the same people. One of those people was this elder Spanish man, and he always had a Spanish nickname for my dog that I can't remember now because it was so long ago. But he always asked the same questions and said the same things. One day, he said his usual things to me and my dog, and as I pass him, he says, "Hey," and I turn around. He said, "You know, we see each other at the same time, at the same place, every day, for a long time now." And I said, "Yeah, I know that." And he said, "So how do you know if I'm real?" But for whatever reason, I felt very, very calm. And I said, "I don't." And he then said, "Maybe I came to protect you." And I just looked at him because I was in such darkness at the time of my life. And I smiled and I said, "Maybe." He said, "Okay, well, you have a good day." I said, "Okay." So I turned back around and I stood there for a moment, and I paused. And I thought to myself, what was that? I turned back around to see him. He's gone. So I was like, okay. So I turned back to go forward, but I looked down at my feet for whatever reason, and there were feathers all around me on the ground by my feet. I broke down and cried because that was the message I needed to receive at the time. That I was protected, that I was being guided, and that God is real. And I never saw him again. After 6 years of seeing him every day at the same time, at the same place, I never saw him again.
Family, I met my guardian angel this past Wednesday, about 2:57 a.m. Appeared in my bedroom, standing beside my bed while I was sleeping. He actually woke me up, church. I know you've heard people who said they had visitations from angels. I've seen angels in visions, but I had my first encounter and I met my personal guardian angel. Deep story, let me share it with you. I was asleep. I had went to bed discouraged Tuesday. I was wrestling with my nature between the spirit and the flesh, trying to get a breakthrough on something. And I said, God, I'm just finna go to sleep. I said, I need you to wake me up so that I can study, so I can have a word for Wednesday morning Bible study and Wednesday evening going live here. And I just went to sleep. At about 2:50 something in the morning, I heard a knock on my bed. My bed frame is made out of wood. I heard doom, 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 doom. Woke me up out my sleep. I wasn't dreaming or anything. Woke me up out my sleep. As I looked over my right shoulder, he was standing there with his back to me, looking over his left shoulder, right in my face. His shoulder was coming back into position because he had leaned down and knocked on my bed. He woke me up knocking on my bed. As I looked at him, tell you exactly what he looked like. Have you ever seen those guys that be in the movies like in Arabia in the desert back in the 1600s when they be on horses and they be fighting? They always have on those garbs to protect them from the elements, the sun, the wind, the sand, and they have a thing over their face, like over in the Middle East, over this part of their face, but you can see this part of their face. He had on gray and was wrapped up all around. He didn't have any face, no eyes, no nose, no facial features, but I can see there was a being. It was pitch black in his face. He was standing with his back to me, looking back at me after he had knocked on the bed. And I woke up and looked at him. And he was the more my eyes came into focus, he began to dissipate. The thing that blessed me was this. He wasn't standing at the foot of my bed, hovering over me. That would have terrified me if I would have woke up and saw him standing there. Wasn't no splendor, wasn't majestic looking. This was a war angel. I mean, he looked like he had been through thousands of wars. The thing that blessed me the most is as I was sleeping in the bed, he was standing at the side of my bed with his back to me. It's like he was surveying the atmosphere to fight any enemies that attacked me. This is Bible, y'all. First, Hebrews 1:14 says, talking about angels, are they not all ministering spirits sent forth to minister on behalf of those who shall inherit salvation? Bless me. This is the thing that got me. I was wrestling Tuesday, and I asked God to wake me up that morning so I can study. He knocked on my bed. I heard dunk, 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 dunk. And I raised up from the knocking, and his arm was coming from position from knocking. And he was just looking at me, all gray around here, around his head, in the garbs he had on. And he looked at me to make, it was like he was making sure that I was woke. This was not a messenger angel that comes to tell you something. This was my guardian angel, emphasis on guardian. He was guarding me while I slept, family. It blessed me so much. I got up, I rolled over my back, and I said, God, now who was that? I talked to a fellow minister the next day, that Wednesday afternoon, and they told me, they said, Derek, you said you had been battling, and you had been, really fighting. They said, I believe God was letting you know that you're not alone, that I'm with you, that I'm fighting with you. It has blessed me ever since. It's been 2 days now, and I've been thinking about, man, I saw my guardian angel for the first time. I've seen angels in visions before. Two was walking with my sister, walking her home from school when she was about 5. They was huge. They had on kilts, leather, like cut off sleeves, long hair down their back. They had on leather sandals with the straps up there, the calf muscle, big, about 8 feet. This angel was like human size, and he was looking right at me over his left shoulder. And the more my eyes came into focus as I was looking at him in the dark, he began to dissipate. I didn't feel any fear, no evil, no presence of evil. It wasn't from Satan, it was God. It was my personal guardian angel. So Psalm 91 talks about angels bearing us up in their hands lest we dashed our foot against a stone. Psalms 34 says in around verse 5 or 6, he said, the angel of the Lord encamps about those who fear him and delivers them. This has given me so much confidence. I already knew I wasn't alone. I'm born again, filled with the Holy Ghost. But to meet my personal guardian angel, my God, it was a blessing. I've been thinking about him ever since. So you're not alone. You are not alone. The more I came into natural consciousness, he dissipated. So in the natural, I couldn't see him. But he woke me up out of my sleep, knocking on my bed. I heard the knock. It aroused me, and I looked at him, and he was coming from knocking, and he had woke me up. Wow. It's a blessing, family. You got angels around you too, church. And I know you've been waiting on stuff like this. You've heard other people talk about having these type of encounters. I just had my first one. And I've been saved for like 30 years, a little over 30 years. And God with us, church. And his heavenly host is all around us. So God got our back. That's why the devil can't do what he want to do with the believers. So I saw my guardian angel. I pray you meet yours. But you already know your father. So God bless you in Jesus' name. Dig that.
Yeah, some people might call me crazy, and I don't even care no more, but I've never in my 32 years seen an angel, never seen a form of an angel, never seen anything like it. But this morning I was woken up out of my sleep, and it was so crazy because somebody might drop a pillow or something on you and you just feel it. Like I was woken up at 4 a.m. 4:44, and it was like something dropped on my face, and I woke up. I looked to the left of me, y'all, I promise. It was like a fixture, like an angel, but it hurried up and disappeared. Like this angel was waking me up. I just instantly got on my knees. I started praying. I started talking to God, and I know this was a time that he wants me to talk. I've never experienced nothing like this in my life. But I know I'm going through a season where God is removing things, removing people, removing idolizations out of my life. And y'all, I don't quite know exactly where I'm headed, but I know he has me headed somewhere. He wants to use me, for whatever reason, as a vessel. And y'all, I've never in my life seen this, and I pray for this. I've asked God to show me, my cousins, my best friend. I've never seen it never experienced it, but this morning, y'all, when I woke up out my sleep and I looked over to my left, this figure of an angel literally was standing right there, and it just disappeared. That's why I be telling y'all, like, y'all, God is real. God is real, y'all. I don't understand why y'all don't get that. And then I picked up my phone and I looked at the time, y'all, and it was literally 4:44. Y'all, I don't understand. When I looked up the meaning of 444, it means like angels are close by and they're willing to guide you. They're here to help you, support you. It represents success and change, communication, love, and all of these things. When I looked it up, it just was confirmation, right? That angel was literally on the side of my bed, y'all. It didn't look like a human. It didn't look like one of those eyeballs with the wings. It was like a holographic figure that literally disappeared. Like, you can tell, just like poof. But it literally, something dropped on my face, y'all, like a pillow or something light. And it woke me up, and I looked to the left, and all I seen was this white, shadowy, foggy figure just, whew, y'all. Y'all. And I just knew that it was the time that God wanted me to just get up, talk to him, spend time with him. And so I turned on Pastor Philip Mitchell, and when I turned on his sermon, y'all, and baby, he went into the book of Matthews, and I opened up my Bible, and I just did what I was supposed to do. So, I feel extremely amazing this morning. I wept, I prayed, I thank God. And I just want to tell everybody, like, repent, grow closer to God, start believing, because this is real. This is real. And whatever God wants me to do, whatever he's using me as a vessel to do, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And this is only the beginning. This is only the beginning. I've never seen an angel, and I felt like this morning that was an angel. To see that at 444, then to look up the meaning of 444 and just see the alignment. Jesus. And I just encourage everybody out here, if you're feeling lost, if you're feeling not motivated, if you're feeling discouraged, depressed, open up that Bible. Go start spending some time with God. Get in that place. Get in that place to where you need to see or hear from God. And I promise you, the more open you are, the more you open up your heart, straighten your heart posture, he's going to reveal some things to you. He's going to reveal some things to you. Never in my 32 years of life. Jesus. Thank you, Jesus.
What's the weirdest thing that ever happened to you that made you think that God was real? And I'm not talking about believing in some kind of universal energy.
My step stool collapsed. I fell. I hit my head on the stove, and I lay paralyzed on the floor. It was the weirdest, freakiest accident that ever happened to me. Have I ever told you this story? Well, here, I'm going to tell you right now. So, backtrack to 6 months prior to my accident. My late husband, Hector, he got diagnosed with 5 years to live. And it was very devastating to us. We didn't know what to do. So, basically, he became disabled, and he stayed at home while I still continued with my family business as a commercial cleaning company. Well, now, fast forward to 6 months later, the day of my accident, he wanted to come to work with me that day. And I was like, no, he looked really, really sick that day. And I told him, no, stay home, rest, and I'll go and I'll just check on these apartments. He says, no, I want to go. He insisted on going with me. And thank God he did, because we go into the apartment. He goes on his normal little routine because he likes to check the windowsills and mini blinds and all that. So I go straight to the kitchen where I check cabinets and, I look in the stove and make sure everything is done, right? Well, I take the step stool and I put it in front of the stove and I climb up on it. It's only like a 2-ring step stool. I climb on the step stool, and as I reach to open the cabinet, boom, boom, it happened that quickly. The step stool collapsed. I hit my head on the stove and I'm on the floor. Apparently, I knocked myself unconscious. When I came to, I could hear him from a distance, like he sounded like he was way away, like in the distance. And he was like, no, oh my God. And I heard him screaming. And I'm like, and as I'm coming to more and more and more, I realized I'm on the floor. Oh my God. And it felt so weird. It felt like my neck and my head was detached from my body. And I was like, okay, something's wrong. And he was like, babe, oh my God. And I remember saying, don't touch me, call an ambulance. Ambulance came, they flipped me over. And that's when the pain hit me on my arms. My arms were so inflamed with pain that the air would touch me. And I was like screaming. So we get in the ambulance, we beeline it to the hospital, and we're stopping at every light. So at this point, Hector thinks that I'm dead because they're like taking their time getting to the hospital. And so by the time we get to the hospital, and I'm telling these guys, like, look, why are y'all going so slow? And I'm crying, and they're like, we're going to get there, ma'am. We're going to get there. But apparently they didn't realize how serious this injury that I just had was. So we get in the hospital. Hector's like losing his mind. He's calling everybody. Constance had an accident. So friends are running up to the hospital. My brother, everybody, my family. And the doctor is talking to me and asking me questions. And I'm telling him, my arms are inflamed, but I can't feel my body. So the doctor runs and gives me a CT scan. So CT scan comes out. Miss Serrano, you're fine. I'm fine. What? Yeah, the CT scan didn't show anything. And I'm like, no, it's impossible. I can't walk. I can't move. Next thing you know, an hour passes and he's giving me my discharge papers like he's kicking me out of the hospital. That's when everybody loses it. Hector started cussing. My friends started cussing. Everybody is losing it out in the reception area, waiting room, whatever. And all of a sudden, while they're all having, this big brawl, next thing you know, they're saying, we're going to call the police and they're going to throw us out of the hospital. Well, the police walks past my curtain and I'm like, oh my God, they're about to kick us out. So I immediately was like, oh God, I just started praying and praying and praying. 2 seconds later, this man comes to my curtain where the curtain is. What's wrong with you? I'm like, I don't know who this man is, but he didn't have no medical attire on, nothing. He goes, what's wrong with you? I said, they're about to throw me out the hospital. And he comes closer. He says, do you mind if I, touch your, you can. He starts touching me, like on my feet, on my leg. Do you feel this? I said, no, I don't feel anything. But when he touched my arm, I screamed. I was like, oh my God. So he said, I'll be right back. He made a phone call. He called Dr. Todd Lassner. Dr. Lassner had just now at this point, it's 2 a.m. And Dr. Lassner, he basically just got through with surgery and just got home and laid his head on the pillow. Well, when Dr. Lassner came up to that hospital, the whole floor just went, they got quiet. The doctor who basically was trying to kick us out, his eyes was like this. Dr. Lassner said, Miss Serrano, what's wrong with you? And I told him, and I was crying. He says, did you guys put her through an MRI? No, doctor. They didn't put me through an MRI. He says, Miss Serrano, this is going to be very difficult for you. Have you ever had an MRI? I said, no. He said, I'm going to have, you got to be very still for 45 minutes. And he explained to me, oh my God, it was the most horrendous thing I've ever been through because my arms were inflamed with pain. I came out of that MRI and that doctor cussed the whole floor out. He was like, she effing broke her neck, you effing idiots. And everybody was like, just scared. And the man that came to see me, I didn't tell you this part. When he was standing in the door, I saw a silhouette around him, like a light. And it was like something was behind him. I know those were my guardian angels because they directed him to my room. He was laying on the couch at 12 midnight and he jumped up and said, "Oh, I forgot to give my colleague a book." He said he usually doesn't come through the emergency room, but that night he came through the emergency room. Okay. He came and saw the commotion and was like, "What is going on in here?" And that's when he asked me. And that's when he made a phone call to that doctor who saved my life. The doctor looked over me when he finished cussing everybody out. He said, "Now, Miss Serrano, what I'm about to tell you is not going to be easy. I can't promise you your life. I cannot promise you. You're so inflamed in your C2 through your C7 is compressed into your spinal cord. I need to do surgery to decompress it off your spinal cord, and then I need to put cadaver bones or your bones or something in between the C3, 4, and 5 because it became bone on bone on bone." That's where I was getting all the pain from. Oh my God, this doctor went in. He says, "Now I'm tired. I need to get some sleep, but I'm going to put you on some really good medication. I'm going to put you in ICU, and in the morning, I'm going to work on you, Miss Serrano. I'm going to do my best to save your life." Oh my God, the next morning, I had that surgery. 10 hours later, when I opened my eyes, I said, "Is this heaven?" Because it was so bright in the room. No, I survived, and that doctor saved my life. So, guardian angels, they've been my friends ever since that day. And I have been relying on them and God, because those are God's messengers, ever since that day. And the reason I'm telling you this is because God is real. His angels are real. We have experienced guardian angels in directing us to each other. And that's when I met my guardian angels. So, what do you think about that?
That's a hell of a story.
And I am here today because of them. And Dr. Todd Lessler, one of the best spinal doctors in the whole world. He saved my life.
So he basically didn't even have a reason to be there. But the book that he forgot to give to a colleague was the catalyst for him to get up out of bed, go run and give it to
cut through.
But he decided to take a shortcut.
Took a shortcut
through the ER.
Yep.
And he heard the commotion, and that's when he asked you.
Yep. So, guardian angels. I'm gonna write a book about
That's
this.
incredible.
Bye, guys.
Hey y'all, hey, it's Nisi, y'all. I'm back with another video. So if you do not know, hey y'all, I'm Nisi. I am the owner of Nisi Takeout. So y'all, I have been dreading to do this. The Lord has been putting on my heart to like go more into depth about my experiences with the Lord. If you do not know, I gave my life to Christ back in 2022. I'm 23 years old, and the Lord saved my life from stripping. I was on drugs. I was in homosexuality. I was very lost and depressed. I didn't believe in God at all. And the Lord revealed himself to me, and he saved me, and he blessed me, with this business. And the Lord just shared with me that he not only gave me this business for my success. It's not even about me, but it's about sharing the gospel. So I just wanted to share with y'all my encounter and how I gave my life to Christ. So let's go all the way back to 2022. All right, so this was around a time when I was super depressed. I was like in a abusive relationship. I was just really lost, y'all. I was all over the place. So I was just like, Lord, I was just feeling like I want something different, like I was very depressed. So I just started like looking at videos on YouTube about Jesus and like just praying, and I just started seeking the Lord. So shortly after I gave my life to Christ, I was at my mom's house, right? And I was just talking with my sister about God. Like me and her, we was talking about God. We was just talking about the Bible and angels and the supernatural. And I was just telling my little sister, I was just like, yeah, I really like pray that God is real, because mind you, I gave my life to Christ, but I was just like, I want like a supernatural encounter, So tell me why, after me and my sister stopped talking about Christ. I was at my mom's house, right? And I went to bed. Right? So tell me, out of nowhere, I'm asleep. Out of nowhere, y'all, I feel my soul lift out of my body. I kid you not. True story, back in 2022. I feel my soul leave my body, guys. And I'm just like, what the heck? So all of a sudden, I was in this car, right? And I was just like, what is going on? And then all of a sudden, I get outside of the car. Remember, guys, I'm outside of my body. I get outside of the car, and I kid you not, I look up at the sky and I see this big angel, y'all. It was like bigger than an airplane, like with these huge wings. Like, it was so big, and it was like flying to me. And I remember I was getting scared. I was like, oh my gosh, like, what the heck? Like, bro, I'm about to die. Like, this is some crazy stuff. So out of nowhere, the angel, it starts flying to me, and then it just snatches me up, and its wings, it cover my eyes like this, so I couldn't see. So I noticed that we started to go up. Like I feel my body like going up, like in the sky, like we're going up. I hear the wind in my ears. Like, it was crazy. Mind you, this is a true story. I'm outside of my body. This is a supernatural encounter from the Lord. So the angel is carrying me up. Mind you, I can't see. The angel's wings are over my eyes, so I cannot see, but I feel my body going up. All of a sudden, I kid you not, the angel removed its wing from my eyes. Y'all, Jesus was standing in front of me. I kid you not, y'all. When I saw him, I was just like this was my face. I was like, bro, what the heck? I was not scared. I was just in complete shock. So what I saw, it was like angels standing around Jesus, like, I think it was like two angels, and their wings was over his face like this. But I saw his robe. His robe was white. And let me tell y'all, his robe was something that I never seen before. It was not only white, but it was like glowing. Like, it looked like the robe was like alive. Like, you know how in movies the robes be flying and stuff like that? That's crazy stuff. But his robe was like, it looked like his robe was alive. Like, it was like glowing in white. And behind Jesus and the angels, it was like heaven behind him, and it was just like light, like gleam. Y'all know I'd be stuttering, but it was like light, like shining, like from like behind him, so like bright. And I remember I started to get scared. I was like it was something, y'all, I cannot explain to you what I saw. But it scared me so bad. Like, the light coming from behind him, it scared me so bad to where I was like, Jesus, like, I don't want to see it anymore. I don't want to see it. So all of a sudden, like, the Lord put me back in my body, and I had woke up. And I remember I called my mom. I was like, Mom, like, oh my God, I just saw the Lord. I just saw Jesus. And she was like, what? And she was like, oh my gosh, like, what the heck? I started telling my family and everything like that. And more of the story, I have more supernatural encounters that I am going to share with you guys. But that was when I first gave my life to Christ. But I just shared this to say, give your life to God. Jesus is real. Let me tell you something. Even though I grew up in church from a young age, when I got into the world and when I started to grow up, I did not believe in God. I was one of those people who was like, nah, Jesus ain't real. That's fake. Y'all just yapping. Y'all just talking. Jesus is real. So what I want you to do, give your life to Christ. He will reveal himself to you. Y'all, when the Lord blessed me with my business, I did not know that it was going to be as big as it is now. I didn't know. And the Lord just revealed to me that there is more life with him. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. When I was in the world, when I was stripping, when I was in homosexuality, when I was drinking every day, partying every day, living it up, it was not fun. I was very, very depressed. And I say that to say God has more for you. If you would give the Lord a chance, he will change your life. Give him a chance. There is nothing in the world for you. I get a lot of DMs from y'all saying that, you know what I'm saying, you want to make that change and that step to giving your life to Christ, I say do it. The Lord will reveal himself to you. He will. I promise you, I was one of them people who's doubting God, who didn't believe in God, all that stuff, and he revealed himself to me. So I just came here to say that the Lord Jesus has a plan for you, but you have to surrender your life. Giving your life to Christ does not mean I'm gonna give myself to God and still do what I want to do. That's not how it works. And a lot of people, they get confused because they're like, well, I don't hear from the Lord, I don't have encounters from the Lord. That's because you're living in the world and you're trying to live Christ. You're trying to do both. That's not how it works. I promise you, giving your life fully to Christ, he will change your life and bless you more than what you think. He will bless you more than this world can give you. Like I said, when I was stripping, I made over 50K and I was 19 years old. But what did that come with? Depression. I had to get naked from men. I was in all type of stuff, doing drugs. The Lord has good news for you, but will you give him a chance? Will you give him a chance? I promise you, your old life, your life right now does not compare to the glory and the relationship that Christ wants to give to you. The Lord has not forgotten about you. I love you guys. I just wanted to share my testimony, y'all. And y'all just let me know if you want to hear more encounters. But I do want to encourage you guys to give your life to the Lord, and he will reveal himself to you. Like I said, I'm 23. And the Lord has done a good work in me. He's blessed my business, way more than I can even imagine, and there's just more that he wants to do. But the Lord loves you. He has a plan for you. Give him a chance, and he will reveal himself to you. All right, love y'all. Bye.
So I think that I was visited by an angel yesterday in my dream, and not like the regular angels that people usually think of in their head, like, you know, like a person with wings. It was like one of the angels that are described in Ezekiel, like if I'm not mistaken, I think it's a seraphim. Because I know there's seraphim and there's cherubim, but I think it was a seraphim. I got to go back and like double check to be sure. But yesterday, I just had this overwhelming feeling of like needing to go to sleep immediately. Like this feeling of like deep sleep just fell over me immediately, and I just knew I needed to go lay down. So I lay down, I go to sleep, and I know for a fact that I was having the most intense dream, because when I woke up, the way that my body felt, like the way that my body feels after I have dreams like this, it's like, it's almost as if my body has been sucked through some sort of a portal, or like my spirit just got sucked through a portal or something, because there's like this heaviness where I feel like I just fell from somewhere. So in the dream, I can't tell you what else was happening in the dream, because I know that there was a lot happening in the dream, and I wish I could remember, but I can't remember the other stuff. The only part I remember is where I'm back in this place that I've been before, because I've had a dream about this place before. And it's like this snowy land where it's like full of like snowy mountains, and it's just nothing but like piles of snow. But the snow is so clear, it's so beautiful and like fluffy. And I just remember it was me and there was this child. Now, I have 3 daughters, and in the dream, this was a boy. So I don't know who this child was, but it was a boy. And I remember he had to be no more than like maybe 4 or 5. And I just remember I was playing with him because there was like this snow of like, it was like a piece of ice, but almost like a floaty kind of a thing. So we were at like it was like a lake, like a really, really large like lake. And I thought it was like an ocean, but it wasn't, because it wasn't as big as an ocean, but it was large enough, like a large body of water. And then it was like crystal clear, and the water was so still. It wasn't moving. And I remember that the water was deep, because if you look down in the water, you can see where it gets deep at, because there's like, it goes from crystal clear water to where you can see like it separates, and like not separates, but like you can see the darkness of the water below. Like it was like a deep dark blue color. So I'm playing with this child. He's on this like floaty thing, and he's like floating away in the water, and I'm like reaching my arms out for him, like, you know, like, come here, come here, come here. And what's crazy about this place is that, like I said, I've been here before in a dream, but at this time I'm at a different part of wherever this land is. And it's cold there. You know it's cold, but you can't feel the cold. Like you can hear the wind, and it's like almost like white noise, but it's like you can't feel the cold. Like I'm dressed for the weather, but I'm not like shivering. I'm not cold. I'm literally at peace. Everything feels perfectly fine. I'm not even worried about the fact that I'm in this place where I see not another soul in sight besides me and this child. So I'm reaching out for him, like, come here, like telling him to come back or whatever, like reaching for him, and he's laughing. And that's when I look to my right, and this being just emerges out of the water. And it didn't come from afar, because it's like, you know, when you see something coming from far away, it looks small, and then as it gets closer, it gets bigger. It wasn't like that. It literally just emerged. And I'm like, oh my gosh, a turtle. I'm thinking like, oh my God, is that a turtle? It might have been an ocean, because it was a sea turtle, so it might have been an ocean. I don't know, very strange. But it had like, you know how like usually turtle shells, like the backs are like brown. This one was like a peachy color, like almost kind of like something you would probably see on Moana or like a Disney movie or something. And it had like, you know, the like the flappers, like the fins, like the feet and the hands, like the little flipper things. And it was so clean, but it was huge. And then as it emerges, it has an owl head. On the back of this turtle back is an owl head, right? And it's the brown and white owl, and it's got the big eyes and the pointy ears. And there are eyes on the back of this turtle back, and the eyes are just rotating, like they're looking all over. There's one huge eye in the middle, and then around that huge eye is a circle of more eyes, and they're all just like looking in different directions. You can see the eyelids just kind of like open and close, and just kind of like looking around, looking all over. And I just remember being so amazed. Like I wasn't fearful when I saw it. And the crazy, I've never seen anything like this in my life. And it's like, as scary as you would think it sounds, I was not afraid of it. I just remember being in such awe and just amazed, because I was like, where did you come from? Because it emerged out of the water, but then it kind of like, it was like moving, like it came out of the water and was like floating in the air. And I remember being like, how? Because I've never seen anything like that. And it wasn't as if it was flying, because I didn't see wings. It didn't look like it was flying, but it was just gracefully moving. It was gracefully moving, and the eyes are just rotating all over the place. And the owl is like staring straight into my eyes. And it's like as if it's locked in with my soul. Because as I'm looking at it, I just remember feeling like I knew it from somewhere. As if I had came into encounter with this being before. Because there was such a deep familiarness with it. As if I knew them. And I just remember saying like, where did you come from? Because I was just so amazed at what I was seeing. And I knew that it was speaking. I don't know what it was saying, because the mouth wasn't moving, but it was like almost like a telepathical communication where I could feel it in my body that it was speaking. And I don't know what it was saying. All I remember is just being in a complete awe. And I remember being like, you know, where did you come from? And I remember I repeatedly kept saying like, he sees all, he sees all. Look, he can see all. Because his eyes were literally looking all over the place, like, but the owl eyes was looking right at me, but the other eyes was looking everywhere else. And I just remember being like, oh my gosh, like it was so beautiful, but so like strange at the same time. But I mean, like I said, I wasn't afraid. And when I got up, because as the dream started to kind of like fade away, I could hear my daughter in real life speaking to me as I was asleep, like, mommy. And it kind of like, you know, startled me. And then I woke up. And I just remember I started crying, because it just something about it. It just felt so personal. It felt so like meaningful. And I just knew, I just knew that this was like a dream from like God. And the first thing that came to my mind was like, it was an angel. Like, that's what I heard. And I was like, what? Like, really? And I had to sit there and just think about it for a minute, because that was the only part of the dream I could remember. And I knew that the dream was like an intense dream. I knew I was dreaming about a whole bunch of other stuff, but I can't remember, because that part literally trumped everything else. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I can't believe I just saw that. And I don't know who the child was. I'm like, and this is the second time I remember this place from a different dream. But it's as if the place where it was is huge, because I could tell it was there, but it was just a different area of that same place. So, yeah. I wanted to share that, because I thought that was so cool.
All right, so this is a story about how I believe I saw an angel at my job. In human form, of course, because God tells us to be careful how we treat people, for we may be entertaining an angel. So, while I was at work, this is probably like last year, and I was doing security. I was securing this building, and this guy just comes out of nowhere, and he's like, he's not even really saying too much of anything, but he's trying to gain shelter from the rain, and he's trying to come inside the vestibule of the building. And I'm like, sir, you can't be out here. You can't be in here. And I wanted him to stand under the hood outside of the building. Usually people do that, you know, I don't mind if they do that because they're not inside the building. And I was like, sir, what are you doing? And he wouldn't listen. He was just stand there. You know, he just kept standing there trying to resist what I was saying. And I started to get a little, I wouldn't even say irrational. I was just getting loud because I'm like, you're clearly ignoring me. But in my spirit, I could feel, it felt like he was on a mission, and it felt like he was being told to do something specifically. I could be wrong, but it just felt like he was being told to do something by an outer force, which I do believe is God that was telling him to do something. And he wouldn't budge. He just said, just give me a minute. Just give me a minute. And it was like he didn't say too much of anything else. So I got loud on him because I didn't want to have to put my hands on him to move from the building. But my spirit started to calm, and I was like, this is different. This is a different type of interaction happening right now. Because this is not like a typical type of person that may be homeless. He looked like he's in need of something, but he's not really articulating that to me. So I'm like, sir, I'm still irritated. I'm like, why are you here? Like, you cannot be in here. So I started, you know, my voice started to elevate, and something just told me to just chill out, calm down. And I was like, hold on, this could be an angel. I could be entertaining an angel right now. And I immediately corrected myself because I'm like, I ain't about to get in trouble with the Lord. I ain't about to cuss out no angel or get into it with an angel because I wanted my ego to get the best of me, or I just wasn't being aware of what was happening. And I said, sir, I'm sorry. I apologize for yelling at you or allowing my voice to elevate because nobody's supposed to be in here. So I immediately corrected myself, and I got him a lift. I got him a lift to wherever he was going, because I felt bad and I didn't want to disappoint God, because I'm like, you know, I didn't want to leave that impression, because you have to take that seriously, because anybody that you could come into contact with could be a person of a high ranking, no matter how they look, and you have to stay humble. So I was like, yeah, let me do this good deed for you, because I ain't getting in trouble with God. But I say that to say the crazy part is I could tell it was like he heard something from God to not leave that area. It was just different. You felt the vibe of what was happening. It was like he was specifically being told to stay there. Like he was on an assignment. And of course, I never seen him again, but it was just weird. It was so weird. It was so weird. Has anybody had any type of encounter where they experienced a story or experienced any like type of angel in human form? I would love to know. I would love to hear. I've heard other testimonies. I heard other stories, but this one was one of the few that I experienced. It was so interesting. It was so overwhelming, but in a good way, because this is like in a way God communicating to you, you know. So yeah, that was something that I experienced, and I just honestly feel like it was an angel. He was an angel in human form.
Whether you believe it was divine intervention, a guardian angel, or just a moment caught at the perfect time, one thing's for sure: faith moves in mysterious ways. Sometimes it's loud and undeniable. Other times, it's a quiet nudge, a flicker of light, a feeling you just can't explain. These TikToks aren't just clips. They're reminders that we're not alone, that maybe, just maybe, something greater is watching over us. If these moments stirred your soul, gave you chills, or made you question what's real and what's beyond, that's the power of faith at work. I'd love to hear your thoughts, your stories, your questions, even your doubts. Drop them in the comments below. Have you ever felt something angelic? A moment that made you stop and wonder, was that God? Your story could be the light someone else needs today. Before you go, don't forget to like, follow, and share this with someone who needs a little faith in their feed. Until next time, stay blessed, stay curious, and stay open, because sometimes God speaks in whispers, and sometimes he shows up on camera.